Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope that wherever you're watching from, you are having a great day. My name is Andrea Marie, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Midlife Motivation. If you've watched a few of my videos, you have heard me talk a lot about dating. And yes, I am doing another video on dating, but this one focuses a lot more on honoring yourself. Through experiences and being almost 45 years old, I have found how important it is to really tap into yourself and not compromise values. Now, you're never going to find the perfect person. That doesn't exist. You're going to find the right person. But when you have certain value sets that need to be met, honor every single one of them. And I say this because I think one of the most difficult things about meeting somebody is finding somebody that matches your energy, that meets your emotional intelligence, and gives you this energy that feels good and positive, and they respect you. That is so difficult to find. When you compromise any of your value sets, you will find yourself not being able to fully commit or fully check into a relationship. For me, I recently had met somebody who I wasn't expecting to romantically be involved with because I saw him as a friend and we connected really well, and he exhibited a lot of emotional intelligence, something that I had trouble finding in a person. And as I got to know him, I started to see things over the few months that we dated. It was very brief, but we were seeing each other often enough for me to really get to know him. And I truly enjoyed his company and everything that he brought to the table as a human being, and really respected who he was, and the level of support and emotional intelligence he exhibited met my needs. They actually exceeded my expectations in a person, and I got really excited about it. And as you get to know somebody, and it takes time, to obviously find out who a person is. Sometimes it takes years. You don't really know a person until you know a person. I started to realize that there were certain things that he was exhibiting that compromised my value sets. And in the spirit of not trying to, overshare too much about a person, because I'm trying to be respectful, the value sets that he was exhibiting that compromised my boundaries were self-care. And when a person doesn't value themselves, it shows up at some point in the relationship. It'll show up in one way, shape, or form. And for me, personally, it did affect my feelings. It affected my attraction levels, and it bothered me for quite a bit. And it was something that I really had to think over, because trying to find somebody that meets my emotional needs, that for me, that's been difficult. If you ladies have found somebody that, meets your emotional needs and then some, congratulations, because that is not easy to find. And we're all on different wavelengths, but when someone doesn't match your energy, it becomes challenging, and we force ourselves, or we neglect ourselves in ways where we overlook other things in an effort to just have company. And quite frankly, I've gotten to a point where I'd rather be alone. And some people, I know that's hard. I've been in that position before, where you're like, well, you know what? He keeps me company, or I still enjoy the attention, or I still enjoy the connection. When you can get yourself to a place that you'd rather be alone, that's the best place to be. And this is coming from somebody who took many, many years to even get to that point. I was always jumping from relationship to relationship. But again, we're in our mid-40s, we're middle-aged women, and we are really trying to find a connection that's worth our time. Whether or not you have kids, but especially if you do, taking time away from your life, from your family, to give someone your energy that's not deserving, trust me, it's not worth holding on to a relationship for the wrong reasons if they're not meeting these value sets that are important to you. And I wanted to share that because from my experience, it doesn't work. It just doesn't. You can't give 100% of yourself to someone. That's also not fair to the person. So this went on for 3 weeks. We went from seeing each other several times a week. I scaled it down to one night a week. And obviously, we had conversations, and the thing that made it, I wouldn't say necessarily easier, but just a lot more mature about this whole interaction, was that I did take the time to figure out how to tell him how to express what I was feeling and try to navigate it. And we did try to give this a chance, but it wasn't working. It became a perpetual, both of us honestly checking out. And it came down to the point where we were like, yeah, we need to take a pause. Maybe we can revisit this at a later time. But he was so receptive, and I was able to be honest with him and tell him, you know what, this is where my feelings went. This is this is the course that it took and why I'm where I'm at now. And it in no way means that I took for granted anything that any of your kindness or, how you treated me, because that wasn't the problem. But this apparently is a problem too, and I can't ignore that. And he understood. It was probably one of the most mature breakups, if you will, that I've ever had. And I really attributed it to the fact that he has that level of emotional intelligence to be able to have a hard conversation. And that's what those conversations should look like. We've had plenty of difficult conversations, and I've had to confront him about things that bothered me. And I also took the time to make sure I deliver it so it wasn't hurtful, it wasn't emotionally, unhinged. And because of that, it enabled us to be able to communicate and talk to each other. And we never had a fight. I'm trying to think. And that's not the case for every single person and every single interaction. Some people they're wired differently, and when you tell them the truth or something about how you feel that doesn't sit well with you, they may not take well to that no matter how you deliver it. And that's not, that's quite frankly not your problem. That's theirs, and it's a reflection on their character. And then that's when you decide, is this something that I really want to be a part of for the rest of my life, or for any period of time, really? So, gauging how a person reacts to things when you tell them the truth, or when you set boundaries, or when you tell them something that's difficult to tell them, can say a lot about whether or not you want to continue, or you want to honor yourself and honor your time, because time is something you'll never get back. So you really want to be particular about how you spend it. And, as a result, you're always going to feel really good about your decisions when you honor yourself first. I wanted to share my experience in hopes that it'll help inspire and encourage other women to please stand up for yourself. Use your voice. Don't compromise your value sets for things that aren't going to bring anything positive in your life. Again, if it's not going to fill your happy cup, don't do it. Don't do things that take away from it. We're getting older, and we want to cherish the rest of our lives in ways that, honor your feelings and being true to yourself. So I hope this video encourages you to do so. And always remember, love yourself first. Have a great day. Thanks again. Bye.